We shall talk about two more important elements of formative elements of the tragedy, apart from plot and character, the plot and characters. They are the diction and thought. Now, just now I referred to Aristotle's idea of thought. Thought is the contemplation over the universal truth. So it is expressed through their speeches and dialogues. Speeches and dialogues of characters. The thinking of the characters is expressed through the speeches and dialogues. While diction is the medium of language or expression through which the characters reveal their thoughts and feelings. Diction is a choice of words. Diction means what exactly? Diction means the words, the choice of words made by the characters in a play. So this choice of word is the medium of language or expression through which the characters reveal their thoughts and feelings. And when we go back to the definition of tragedy given by Aristotle, so in the second part of his definition, after saying that tragedy then is an imitation of an action which is serious, and of certain magnitude, then in the second part he talks about language that is embellished with each kind of artistic element, in a language embellished with each kind of artistic element. So the diction stands for the language which is embellished. Embellished means decorated with certain artistic elements such as rhyme, rhythm, melody, figures of speech, etc., imagery. Okay, so in a tragedy, the language used should be beautiful one, should be appealing one, it should be artistic one. For example, when you refer to Shakespeare's Hamlet, the way Hamlet talks, that is not an ordinary language. To be or not to be, that's the question. Okay, instead of saying that I'm not understanding what to do, in general way we say, I'm confused. I don't understand what to do. But this confusion is reflected in the language used by Hamlet. What he says, to be or not to be, that is the question. In many of Shakespeare's quotations, you'll come across this language embellished with each kind of artistic elements. If you go back to King Lear, quotes from King Lear, quotes from Othello, you'll understand that they are the beautiful use of language, examples of the beautiful use of language. So that will help you understand tragedy in a better manner. Now, I shall read one example for you people, then we shall go ahead with our discussion. So what we mean by the language embellished with artistic devices or elements. I'm reading one example from Othello. It is about Othello's jealousy. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. Look at the way language is used. Oh, beware, my lord, of jealousy. It is the green-eyed monster. Jealousy here is described as the green-eyed monster which doth mock the meat it feeds on. So it was Iago, okay, means actually who makes Othello, who actually pressurizes Othello. And Othello is succumbing to jealousy. And Iago issued this warning with a false earnestness, seriousness. So this is how you can understand the language, beautiful use of language. I shall read one more quote, then we shall go ahead. So this is from Act 3, Scene 4 of Othello. He takes here the evidence from Bible. But jealous souls will not be answered so. They are not ever jealous for the cause, but jealous for they are jealous. It is a monster begot upon itself, born on itself. Now, when we're reading these quotes, I'm trying to make you understand how language is used in great plays, especially tragedies. It is full of artistic devices. Lastly, Aristotle notes that forming a solid plot is far more difficult than creating good characters or diction. Means he gives priority to plot over characters or diction. For him, the plot is the most important element. Now we shall go ahead with the next aspect,